Is this the most important lesson in the Bible? A girl with no power, no voice, and no throne, chosen to be queen in a foreign land. Esther never asked for this. She was just trying to survive, hiding her identity, living in the palace, doing what she was told. But then came a decree, an order signed by the king himself. All the Jews in the empire were to be killed. Her people, her family, and her blood. And she was the only one close enough to stop it. But speaking up meant risking everything. In Persia, you couldn't approach the king without being summoned. If you did, and he didn't raise his golden scepter, you would die. And it didn't matter if you were queen. Esther hadn't seen him in 30 days. What if he was angry? What if he rejected her? What if this was the end? She was terrified, but she walked into the throne room anyway. One step, then another, every heartbeat louder than the last. Guards staring, the king watching, and then silence. The room froze, and in that moment, everything depended on what he would do next. Then he raised the scepter. A sense of relief washed over her, as it meant she would live. And the plan to destroy her people began to unravel. Because one girl dared to speak. One girl risked death to save the lives of her people. She stood up when it would have been easier to stay silent. Esther could have stayed hidden. She could have chosen comfort. But instead, she chose courage. She chose to be strong. And even though she didn't feel ready, she felt she was in the right place at the right time. And maybe so are you. Maybe you're standing in a moment that feels too big, too scary, or too risky. Maybe you're thinking, who am I to speak up? But God didn't put Esther in the palace by accident. Comment, I trust God, if you believe he didn't put you where you are by accident either. What if the very thing you're afraid of is where God wants to use you most? What if you were born for such a time as this? Because courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you show up anyway. Esther did, and she saved a nation.